What's going on, guys? Let me get the music going. All right. Thanks for the TA. Now you can end the stream. Yeah. We'll just put it here. What's up, King T? Guten Abend. What's up, Apeng Raham, Lucas, Michael? Hello. How's everyone doing? Good evening. This beat's kind of a vibe. What's up, everybody? Love from the UK. What's up, Lawson? What's up, Kevin? Luke? All right, let's get started. Give people a couple minutes to hop in here, so we will get it going. What's up, Sergio? What do I think about the NBA lottery? I'm very happy the Detroit Pistons got the first overall pick. How you guys feeling here? Bullish, bearish? Anyone in trades? You guys long? You short? How we doing? Is the market knocked out? I don't think so. I think it's just ranging. I think this is it's not too surprising to me, I would say. What's up, Neon? Maxim? What's up, Carter? Go Mavs. Germany tied, but we made it to the next round. So we play England on Tuesday. Or as the British would say, Tuesday. That was cheesy. Got out of my long for a bit. Bullish. Great work, Cause. Thanks, Sam. Not going to diddle in the middle. Deegan long since 32 is long since 33. Okay, so yeah, a lot of people, looks like people more so lean bullish. Okay, a little bit of leaning bearish. So nothing has really changed. We're still in a ranging environment. We're still bouncing back and forth between low 40s, low 30s. We wicked into 28, but didn't spend much time in there at all. I entered along on the close of this candle at around 31.4, 31.5. And I think we continue to range. So, in it, yeah, it's Tuesday, in it. Oh, man. Yeah, I think we continue to range here. I do think we see 42K 41, 42K, probably 42. I think we see 42K before we make a new low. So this current long that I'm in right here, I'm not going to try to overmanage. I kind of just want to let it ride all the way up to this 42K. Target 42.5 for 5.3R. If we do get a scenario like this, I'll probably look to take a short on a different account to kind of hedge against the possible downside after that sweep. But sometimes I try and keep higher time frame trades open. So, I mean, maybe I'll close 25% or something if we do something like that. But I will just look for a short to hedge my spot as well as hedge the long that I'm in. But this is pretty much what my setup looks like, around 31.5, 31.6 average entry, around there. This move looks good though. We swept every single low into yearly open support. And I think we continue traveling from range lows toward range highs. Right? So there's no reason to expect, or there's no reason to anticipate that not continuing for the time being. So we're just going to keep looking to play the range for as long as we can. It's kind of why, I mean, what I laid out in my recorded video yesterday is more or less what I'm still looking for today. So that's why I kind of said I don't envision this being quite as long of a stream as we usually do. But it is what it is. It's all good. Overall, though, really happy with the reaction at the yearly open and that we are pushing away from that pretty aggressively. I mean, the buyback here was pretty great. I'm pretty sure we're up like 20% off the lows. Currently 21, got as high as 23. So that's what you want to see when we make a near-term bottom. Like here, huge wick with a nice reversal. Same thing here. We started to get that here, so I thought I was going to be safe in my 33K long, but we all know how that turned out. But now, really strong move off the low. So I expect this move to have legs. I expect this to be drawn out for a bit. After taking out all these lows, I do think our next major move is continued upside. But that doesn't mean there won't be turbulence in between. So when we were here, everyone's saying, oh, this looks so bad. We're going back to 20K. And then it nukes. Everyone's freaking out. But then right after they see this, everyone's super bullish again, right? CT is a pretty funny thing. And if we take out this high and then start to pull back from it, you're going to hear the exact same things here. And that's when you know you want to get back in the market. But I do think we get a run on Monday's high at some point. It might pull back a little bit and then go do this. But something like this would be a nice short setup, in my opinion. Take out the stops here, take out Monday's high, break back below, take it down, retest Monday's low, because we put in the low, kind of deviated it here, and I think a retest of that low would be a good long opportunity. And then I'll be looking for what kind of interaction we get to see around the monthly open. It's been a relatively pivotal area. Like you can see resistance here for a bit, flip to support. Like this region was resistance again, resistance here, support, caught some wicks there, but eventually broke. But I expect that level to continue to play as somewhat of a pivot. And depending on how you draw the current range, it's kind of near the mid-range. I think the clearest range to me right now would be something like this. Let's see. There we go. You know what? I'm going to go to a different layout. Oops. We'll go to my, this chart. Hide some of this. Bear with me. Okay. So this is what I think the range is that we are working with. And if we look where the monthly open is, it's pretty close to that mid-range. So it's kind of been a mean level, as my friend Trader SZ would say. So if this is the range we're working with, I think a retest of this range low is a no-brainer long. That would also take out anyone who has a stop loss here or here. I mean, I remember this was the beginning of our daily open, I think 2 days ago, where we sold off a bit and then just reversed, and that never got tagged. So all longs from that day are safe, and then longs from yesterday are safe as well with a stop at this low, I believe. Let's see. Yeah. So it is something interesting, though, to keep in mind. We did make the low of the day within the first couple hours of the daily open 2 days in a row. So if we do get a wick down to here and then it gets bought up quick, I think that trend could continue, and then you look for a long up into the mid-range, and then it goes down. Also with the mid-range, let's see how that lines up with, I guess it's a little below Monday's high. We're kind of marking up a new chart here, which could be useful for you guys to see how I mark up a clean chart. But sweep into the monthly open. Sweep into the mid-range, taking out all these highs. This is your short entry, targeting Monday's low and our high time frame range low. I think you can draw the range with this low right here, but I just don't think it's quite, I don't know. I think, wow, that is some nice confluence there. It changes based on the exchange, because see, on FTX, the low was 29,100. On Bybit, the low was 29,800, so that's a $700 difference. On BitMEX, the low was 28,100. It didn't even get tagged. So that's why I don't want to use that low for my range low, just because there's so much discrepancy with it across the exchanges. But with this range, this low is more or less the same everywhere. I like the confluence with Monday's low, and basically retesting that SR level. Any guesses for England, Germany? I'm nervous. I am nervous for it. My heart says 2-1 Germany. 2-1 Deutschland. Sunjuice, what's up, brother? YSR 37,253. Let's see. I don't know how long ago you sent that message. Oh, that's the monthly open. That is the monthly open. Okay, so let's talk about this again. I'm the only streamer that uses the 2 hour. Sometimes I like it just because I can get more of the chart into it. Like if I want to look at, wait, why did my range move? Let's see. Let's put that back. Cause I'm going to the England-Germany game, but you look bad and we look worse, so it might be a miserable day. Yeah. Neither of us are on our A game. Hey, Cause, in the macro picture, from the perspective of an investor rather than trader, do you think Bitcoin's 4-year cycle has been delayed, or we're still on track for new all-time highs in 2021? It's a good question. I honestly don't know. I think whatever my answer would be more of a guess than anything else. Right now, I think ranging is my expectation, but I don't know how long it's going to range for. Like, I think we could just range here for a few months, and then if we break out of this range to the upside, then I don't know the time frame, but after that, I would look for all-time highs. So that's kind of my take on it. Okay, so let's talk about this scenario again briefly. So if we do get a spike up into the mid-range here, take out all these stops, and then break back below Monday's high, I will look for a short targeting Monday's low and our high time frame range low. So I just love how well that all lines up. And people are going to say, oh, well, why do you expect it to hold on the 5th touch or whatever? And it's like, well, that's just what it's like in a range. You could say the same thing about 40K. Held here, it held here, it held here. I just think, who knows how many touches either side will last. But for now, I keep trading with the expectation that we continue to range. And until I'm wrong, I'm going to keep milking the range, and it has worked for me thus far. So that's kind of the short scenario I'm looking for. And then the long scenario would be taking out these two lows into this level and then going up. I think this is when everyone gets super bearish and we add to our longs targeting 42K. This is when everyone's super bullish, thinking we're about to go to all-time highs because we break above this lower high or this lower high. I think people will be expecting us to go straight to 42 if we start to trade around 36.5, because they would think, all right, breaking structure, got above those highs, but I'd be looking for more of a sweep. So that's kind of the plan. Why does the mid-range matter? I understand range high and range low because they're clear SR flips there, but mid-range always seems so random to me. Well, the mid-range is the 50% in between those levels, and that's typically where buyers and sellers kind of find, it's like a mean level where neither side kind of has an advantage, and so you can kind of expect it to be somewhat of a dynamic SR level, especially when it lines up with other confluence. Cause I think you said you expect it to be just a wick if we take out all the lows, but now we had a much lower daily close. Doesn't the daily look like a bearish retest to you? I don't think so. I think it looks okay still. It could be, but regardless, this just looks like a ranging environment to me. Right, so if we were trading based on the market structure, then we would have expected like this to be a bullish retest because we just closed above this high. Right, so we broke above this high right here, and you'd expect the retest of the demand that sent us there to be a bullish retest, but in reality, market structure like that works better when we're in a trending environment. And I'll go show an example of that in a sec. But when we're in a range, I don't get too caught up in that. When you're in a environment like this, then higher lows and higher highs and just bidding retests of 4-hour demand, daily demand, that works really well. But here, it's just a different environment. So that would be my answer to that. I'm not too concerned with the daily close. I think it actually looks fine. The fact that we closed above this low and this low makes me okay with it. So let me quickly go back over the scenarios we wanted to talk about. So this is pretty much the same as this, but I've just drawn it out in a different way on this chart. High time frame range, liquidity above these highs as well as Monday's high. If we sweep those, break back below Monday's high, we're looking for shorts down to Monday's low and our high time frame range low, with the expectation that this is our medium time frame low, and that we come down here, put in a higher low, and then proceed to push from there. And I know I kind of just said I don't use market structure that much and then proceeded to talk about market structure, but it's more so the fact, not really a higher, I mean, yes, it's a higher low, but also it's more so just a retest of the range low before another push up. God, can I just live with you for a month? If you're Italian and you cook, then maybe. I actually, when I was in high school, I had a Italian exchange student living with me, He's like a brother to me. I still talk to him pretty frequently. And every now and then we would make spaghetti carbonara together. And it was delicious. His name was Davide. What do I use if not market structure? I do use market structure, but right now the market structure is just a ranging environment. Like this daily structure is just a range, and the fact that this daily closed below this daily close, it doesn't worry me. Just like this daily close above this daily close didn't make me uber bullish. Like this was a perfect example of what we just saw right here. And that's when you see people calling for 50K, and this is when you see people calling for 20. But then it just continues to range. So that's kind of my take on Bitcoin. Currently long, but looking to add. And we have short plans mapped out if we get a trigger for them. It also could just come down to here, but like if we can't get back above this high, then I think it's possible we made this move and we retest this before going up. But ideally we get that other push, and I think the higher probability short would be taken up here instead of here. And that's basically this same plan for Bitcoin, but this is just drawn as one solid swoop. Like this is kind of my expectation, but obviously it probably won't look exactly like this, and it will take more time. It could be something like this, and then ranges here, and then does this, and then, who knows exactly how it's going to play out. But the main point with this drawing is just I want to see us take out these highs and Monday's high. I want to see us pull back, retest our high time frame range low and Monday's low, and then push up from there. Do I pay any attention to alts or just Bitcoin for now? I do pay attention to alts. We're about to talk about Ethereum, but I've been having a more clear read on Bitcoin than on alts. And so I think it can be useful to kind of stick with the hot hand, if that makes sense. How would you go about making real life friends that are into trading? I would love to have a group in real life to share ideas and trades, but everyone around me. So I don't really know I don't really have any friends in real life that trade, other than people who have gotten into trading because they've seen me do it and find joy and some success from it. And so I think like that sparked some interest in them, and then I've kind of pointed some friends to beginner resources, and they'll text me every now and then or whatever about Bitcoin. But so I mean, I guess if you just talk to some of your friends about Bitcoin or trading, or maybe people who you think could be good at it, then it might spark an interest, but make sure they only start with what they're willing to lose. You think alts are dead over the next 6 months? Not necessarily, but I don't know. 6 months is a long time frame to try and predict something. So let's talk about Ethereum. So these were the scenarios we talked about in the video, and these still hold true. I still like this scenario quite a bit. I still think this scenario could be good. But let's try and draw it a little better. I don't know how to do this exact SR level, but generally something like that. And I just don't think Ethereum looks quite as clean as Bitcoin with Monday's range, because this low is above Monday's low, so we could sweep that low into the range low, and that would look very bullish, but I don't know where that leaves Ethereum, because Monday's low is here for Ethereum, but this spike low was there, so I don't know if that means we're going to come down and take it out and then get back above. If we do, I think that would be a good long scenario, but it's just a little less clear to me. The short looks really good though. The short looks really good. So if we do get that, I would take it, and because this level has proved to be such strong resistance, I do think a flip of that would be a nice long opportunity. So pretty much the same as the recorded video I posted yesterday is what I'm looking for on Ethereum. If this does get going, I think it's gonna have a lot of nice upside, because we literally have all these untapped highs. Another interesting thing to note is that this is the third wick down that Ethereum made, because the initial one got taken and then this one got taken as well. So interesting market dynamic. Would I completely close my long on a sweep of the mid-range highs, or just take some off? I would just take some off, and I will likely enter a short. Because, so I'll draw this again. I'm in this long with a stop just under 30K, somewhere around there. And I'm targeting this, right? I could close it all if we do this, but it is possible that this idea is just wrong and we end up doing this. And if we do that, then I had a long bias the entire time. I got bullish at the range lows and I nailed my entry, but then started to overthink it around the mid-range and closed the entire trade instead of leaving some open till the range high. And I don't want to make that mistake. Because this, I entered the short right here and closed most of it here and didn't really get a chance to re-enter. And then I entered longs at 31, 32K and closed most of it here. I was able to re-enter this time, but sometimes it won't play out that well. So I don't want to misplay it like I did with this short and close the majority of it early and then watch the rest from the sidelines. So I would much rather take a short on a separate account. If this plays out, let's say the position size for this is 10, then maybe if this short trigger, short plan plays out, let me scoot this over. Stop loss there. Stop loss would be a little bit tighter. So let's say this is like a 12 position size. It can be $12, 12,000, 12 million, whatever you want to imagine it being. And then look to close it around here and compound my long if it happens. If not, I just get stopped out of this trade, but I'm still on board if this just goes straight vertical up to my target. So opening a short instead of closing the entire long is a good way to kind of cover your bases and make sure you're holding a longer time frame trade open, right? Because this would be more of a, this is a swing trade here. So maybe we would take like a day trade to short this level down to wherever it ends up going. One sec. Never mind. So you can use different time frame trades in different directions to hedge and to help you stay in good entries. Because like this is a great entry, right? In my mind. Because when you zoom out, this is our range low. This is our range high. What I should have done with my short, I took this short right here with a stop at the high, super tight position, so it was a pretty big position size respectively, like in comparison to what I typically trade. And instead, I should have just taken a long right here on a different account. Long would have been stopped out right when it broke down here, but I'd still be in this short and I would have been able to ride that short for however long. Instead of puking this entry because of this, I could have held this, which I'm pretty sure it would have gone to like 17R or something absurd. Who knows where I would have closed it? Probably at this range low. If I held, actually, I might have closed it. I would have closed it here, actually, for sure, because I literally bid along there. So this is where I would have closed my short if I didn't puke the entry right here. I mean, this was the limit order that I caught my long, so I would have just had both. But instead, I closed my short here for 4R. And so in this situation, I basically left 7R on the table because I closed my short instead of just entering a long. And let's say I entered a long here instead. Entered a long, let's say my stop was like at that low, targeting back up to this range high. I get stopped out for 1R, but this trade is still going, and then I end up closing it for 11. And I would much rather have 10R than the way I did play it, which was like 4.5. So let me know if that makes sense. That's how I should have played this short. I noted that down. I've done things like that before. And so now I'm looking for ways to improve and adapt. So if the same thing happens, I'm going to leave this trade open. And I'll enter a short like this. And if this plays out, I get an additional 3.2R, and I'm still in this trade, but there's just no guarantee that it gets back down there. And if this doesn't work out, and I get stopped out, and it goes to target, I make 6.3R from this trade, and I lose 1R from this trade, so I make 5.3R. 5.3 times what I'm risking. So that's kind of some trade management advice. Just a different way of looking at things, different way of doing things. You can paper trade some different methods and try and see what works for you, but I think that can be a good way of doing it. Because, like, yes, I might have, like, if that long did play out right here, I might have had to watch the unrealized P&L of this trade go away, but I would have been making money from my counter trade, and maybe it did something like this and then broke back down. I take profit on the long after that sweep, and now I still have this really good entry that was protected. Does that make sense, guys? I've never really talked about that on stream, but I think that is a pretty helpful trade management tip. Very much so, thanks. No problem, Tom Fu. So you like Wyckoff? You think this range, is it accumulated? I don't really do Wyckoff specifically. I just consider this price action. I would assume it's accumulation because institutions are buying, but I have no technical way, I guess, of saying for sure. Yeah, exactly what Mark said. It's also a good hedge if we lose that range low, right? So if I get this short with a stop there, and let's say this starts grinding down, dropping, and then the floor just gives out, and we lose our range low, and this ends up nuking, sure, you got stopped out for 1R on the long, and that's a bummer because you rode it up to like 2.5, 2.3. But you're in this short still, and that can keep riding in the other direction. Because who knows, maybe it doesn't bounce from there. Why cause, why not Wyckoff? That's funny. I just never really got into it. I don't think I need, like, I'm sure some of the stuff I do, I don't know, everything's the same, man. Just different way of looking at the market. Like for me, this is a range low sweep, and that's a long opportunity. For Wyckoff, that might be whatever they call it, like a spring. They call that the spring. I don't know, they just have like Wyckoff schematics that look like this. And it's like, sure, that could be called a Wyckoff schematic or something, but it's like, I'll call it a range. I'll short this move, I'll long this move, and then I'll long the breakout. So, like, you can call it whatever you want. I don't like try and look for price to fit that specifically. I just trade how I trade, you know. What do you think will the price be at end of year? I have no idea. I'd be guessing. I have no technical way of predicting that. A lot of people on CT like to make predictions. I like to trade. And I think those are very different things. Trust the Process LLC asked if you just need 2 exchanges. You could have 2 accounts, or like FTX offers a sub account or whatever it is, or you could trade the September future, like take a short on the September future and long the perpetual contract. There's a few different ways to do it, but yeah, it can't be on the exact same contract because shorting would just close your long. Right. What time frame do I enter my trades? I use the 15-minute, the 30-minute, and the hourly to enter trades, I would say. And then I use higher time frames above that to analyze charts, do analysis. All right. Trying to see if how long have I traded and what was my journey like and how long before you got that click and became profitable? I have traded for about 4 years, a little over 4 years. I would say it probably took a year to a year and a half before things really started to click for me. And I think journaling really helped me with that click and with taking things to the next level. So those are my 2 cents on that. Daily close in like 2 hours, so it'll be interesting to see what happens. Let's go back to this chart. But yeah, this is a general idea of what I'd like to see. Can you define what a trigger is? It would basically just be when price action follows my expectation. Like if we spike above this level and then break back below, start closing some candles in here, and then I see us retest it and that's holding as resistance, I would call that my trigger. All right. Sweeping highs and lows are so important because that's where stop losses are. So people who were long had stop losses here and here. People who were short earlier had stops here, here, here. We took out these ones. We've taken out these. So now I look for swing highs and swing lows that are untapped, so to speak. And it would be this one and this one. So anyone who's short has stop losses there. So also interested in your thought process of triggers. Can you talk about what triggers? This one was based off of a candle close. So I longed when I saw the 4-hour close back above 31K. So that was the trigger. What would trigger the 36K short? If we go above this level, take out those highs, and then break back down and basically trap any breakout longers that tried to long a break of that high. SZ is pretty bearish because the monthly and quarterly. What's your take on those time frames, and why do I expect us to range for so long, which is not really typical? I don't really have a time frame on how long I expect us to range, but I think it's pointless to call for range breakouts while we're still stuck in this environment. Like, it could do this for another week, it could do this for another month, it could do it for another 2 months. But whatever it is, I'm just going to keep trading the range until something new happens. Like, I got long here, I missed the short there. Long this high or low. I mean, I took some trades around the mid-range too, but this is just the range in general. We longed this, shorted this. Those were very clearly talked about on streams. And then I longed this level, got stopped out of that one because I expected a higher low, and then got long here. So it's like, eventually I will be wrong again, and we won't be in a range anymore. But for as long as we do, there's no reason for me to call for a breakout. Like, if I'm looking to take profit on longs and short up here, and we do this, then it's like, okay, we've broken out of the range. And then we have a long bias going forward. But I'm just not going to call for that. I'm not going to expect that until I actually see it happen. So I don't know if we're going to range for weeks or months, but I just don't see a reason to call for a breakout of the range until I just don't think there's any reason to call for it in general. Just keep trading the levels till they stop working. I've already made much more in this range than I will lose if I get stopped out on a long because we nuke through the range low, or if I get stopped out on a short from nuking above the range high. My take on the monthly and the quarterly. I mean, it's not the prettiest, but we did just take out last month's low, so I kind of expect us to rally from that. We could. It doesn't scream. Well, this one looks pretty bearish. Log makes things confusing, to be honest. We did take out last month's low, and so that makes me think near term we do rally. I don't look at this monthly chart and think this is definitely going down to 14. And I also don't look at this and think it's definitely, I mean, I don't really trade off the monthly chart, because you could say, oh, something looks bullish or something looks bearish, and then it takes months for that prediction or whatever to play out. Like this looked pretty bearish back in the day. And then, oops, dang it. And then so did this. And it's like we kept going. I don't know how long this takes. And then this rejection looked really bearish, and that one ended up being the top. But if I was trading based off what this chart looks like, then I would have had a bearish bias since 33K. I think I honestly just don't use it that much because I can get a good enough idea from other time frames. As far as the quarterly goes, yeah, that looks pretty ugly. But 6 days till it closes, I guess expectation could be like, oops. Expectation could be take out the last month's quarterly low, but it's like, even if that's the idea, no one is trading, no one's getting a trigger from a 3-month chart. This is the 2013 fractal, for what it's worth. Kind of just have it on there because I think it's interesting, but yeah, I mean, SZ trades differently than me. I don't get too much from a monthly or a 3-month chart because that is just way out of the scope of what I'm looking at. That's like, maybe it could help, but that is so far such a higher time frame than I'm concerned with at the moment. Because the quarterly could be super bearish, and we could have a 3-month dead cat bounce and then go down. So it's like, what does a bearish quarterly chart even do for me? You know? Like, what's to say this doesn't rally to here and then go back down? It's like, sure, that might have looked bearish, but it doesn't really tell me much, you know? So that's just my take. Everyone's going to do things differently. I'm not concerned with it. And if the monthly and quarterly actually are really bearish, I will catch a short on a different time frame, and it won't be because that time frame was bearish, you know? Will I sell at 36K? I don't know. If it takes those highs and then breaks below, then yeah. But if it pushes up strong and then holds here and consolidates and then gets above here, then no, I will not. This would have to happen. It would have to break above, break back below, and then I would look for a short. What's up, Fritmore? All right. Well, we went strong for about 50 minutes. I think I am going to call it. Oh, I forgot to do at the beginning of the stream. You guys already know this probably if you've tuned into these before, but as always, this stream is sponsored by Bybit. Shout out to them for making these possible and letting me do these streams for you guys completely for free. If you enjoy the content, feel free to check out the link in the description to check out Bybit's platform and show them some love, and show your appreciation for the stream. I will be live again on Tuesday, and throughout the week I will continue to post updates on Twitter. Kaz is grouchy, so hit that thumb up. I'm not grouchy. I'll only be grouchy if Germany loses on Tuesday. My trigger is just to break below that high after the break above. Yeah, pretty much. Or if it's like a wick, just like one wick like that, then I'll enter on the candle close. So if we just spike above and then close the candle somewhere like that, I would just mark it in and enter a short. And that's about it. If it kind of grinds up more and then goes above, I would just wait to see more price action play out, see if it breaks down below. But that's about it. Yeah, I mostly just use the perpetual future contracts, and I also trade my spot every now and then. No problem, Maxim. Sorry if I'm pronouncing that wrong. Making 5R isn't making 5x what you risked. It is making 5x what you risked. But that's not 500% ROI. Like if I'm risking $1,000 or $50,000, let's just say one, because that makes the example easy. If I'm risking $1 and it's a 5R trade and I take profit, I get 5. I'm not saying it'd only be 500% ROI if you risked your entire account, but we don't do that. If the R concept is confusing, then I suggest you check out the risk management vid. I'm not saying it's a 500% ROI, but a 5R trade is making 5 times what your risk amount is, no matter what you're risking. If you're risking 100K, you close a 5R trade, you made 500K. But that doesn't mean your account went from 100K to 500K. To risk 100K, you better be trading with like 5 mil, 10 mil, depending on your risk parameters. Cheers, cause. Hope we smash you on Tuesday. Maybe I won't stream if Germany loses because I'll be depressed. Cheers, cause. I love you, cause. I love you too, man. I'll just call you Max then. All right, guys. Well, I appreciate you tuning in, and we will speak again soon. Thanks a lot.